The Feed Their Future campaign with Bright Hope is underway, and we are partnering also in this effort with Justin and Merrill Masterson. Justin from the Cleveland Indians with us this morning on the morning program. Good morning, Justin.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. You know, we've talked a few times over the few years you've been here in Northeast Ohio with the Tribe, and one of the things that I've probably asked you about less than anything else is baseball questions. So am I allowed to start there?
Well, I don't know. When they said we were gonna have a partner with Moody Radio and we got to work with Mark, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that, but I guess we can do something.
All right. Well, the night before we recorded this, you started for the Indians and pitched a great game against the Washington Nationals. And I guess for the 99.99% of us who have no idea how that feels like, you go out there, you throw nearly 120 pitches against guys who, if you make a mistake, are going to clobber it. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel this morning? I mean, physically, after a night like that, what does it feel like?
It feels good. I don't know.
Well, you got the win. That always feels good.
Yeah, I mean, as a team, we got a win. Going out there and pitching well. I think, in one sense, there's just a satisfaction that you did your job. At least that's kind of the way I look at it. Where, there's just this. The body feels great no matter how bad it feels. The body feels great. Everything feels good because you went out, you did your job, and the team got a win. And I don't really think there's much better feeling than that when it comes to
shoulder
baseball.
and arm stiffness on the day after a win is probably a little different thing to deal with than the day after a loss.
Oh, without a doubt. And especially, when you pitch all right. Shoot, even if you don't pitch very well and the team still wins, everything feels a little bit better the next day.
I have, in reading your boss's book, Francona, the Red Sox Years. By the way, dear Christian friends, do not consider this an endorsement. It is a book with locker room language in it. But in the book, he talks about having to tell you that you were traded to the Cleveland Indians. So you're a very young guy. I think maybe, just married at that time?
Yeah, maybe a year into marriage, something like that.
Okay, so you're a very young guy. You've pitched in a playoffs and a World Series. You have another spot on a team that might be going there. And Terry Francona says, Justin, come on in here. Can I talk to you for a minute? And then all of a sudden, in the space of about 30 seconds, your life does a 180. Most of us can't relate to that. What goes through your mind when all of a sudden the guy you trust more than anybody in baseball says, young man, you're going to Cleveland?
Yeah, well, about 30 minutes before that happened, I got called in and, they told me, hey, just want to let you know that, your name is out there for some trades. We didn't throw it, it's not like we're just throwing it out there. We're not trying to do anything, but, we'll talk again in half an hour and either we'll be smiling or we'll be shedding some tears. And so I'm like.
And the Red Sox are the organization you came up with.
Right. Came up with them, gave me my opportunity, still up there. A lot of good things the year before, like you said, in the playoffs.
And all of a sudden they say, you know what? Don't put your uniform on just yet.
Yeah, with no warning. There was no warning leading up to this other than that half an hour. And then, I'm called in the office. And as you said, within 30 seconds of being in the office, it's, Justin, you've been traded to the Cleveland Indians. And having nothing to do with what my thoughts were of the Cleveland Indians or anything like that.
Right.
Just the fact of being traded was, oh, boy.
Yeah, okay, so the thoughts go through your head. They don't want me?
They don't want me. I mean, the first thought was, man, I feel like we had a good thing going here.
Yeah.
Like this could be a spot where, I could be one of those guys in one spot for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And, though, at the beginning of that year I had been pitching the best, but had kind of come back and was doing really well. And I was like,
next thought, I got an apartment. I got a wife I've got to call.
I got a wife, and we were on the road. We were in Baltimore, so I got a wife who's in Boston. And, I mean, I don't get to go home. I'm flying I would have flown that night because it happened at 3 o'clock at the trade deadline of '09. I would have had a flight that night, didn't have one. So that next morning, flight to Cleveland, I actually pitched that evening in Cleveland when I got there. And my wife, the Lord was looking out, though. Because,
her reaction on the phone was?
Tears. I mean, she was bummed. And, it was because we had such a great time, there in Boston. And what the blessing was is that her best friend and their family just happened to be in town. I mean, usually they come when I'm there for a little bit. So they came like the tail end of the time we were in there and stayed for an extra couple of days. And if it wasn't the Lord providing, I don't know what, because, her best friend ended up staying back. The family went back to Florida, and she drove with her to Cleveland that night so that they could make it there to hang out.
I guess one more baseball question. Justin Masterson of the Indians with us. Our Feed Their Future campaign is ongoing right now. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but you can find out more at moodyradiocleveland.fm. Justin, I have heard so many people talk about Tito, your manager, as and a guy that, well, a lot of the guys who came here this year said they might not have come if it weren't for that guy being in the manager's chair. What makes Terry Francona the guy that everybody wants to play for?
Well, I mean, to take it to someone else, I mean, just think about what makes you enjoy somebody. Whether, if there's a boss that you enjoy, what makes them special? If there's a friend that you enjoy, what makes them special? And those are the quality that Tito encompasses when it comes down to it. And a lot of it is communication. And, it's not really that he's trying to be buddy-buddy or is your buddy-buddy, but treats you like a friend. And, if there's a time where, you need to be reprimanded, that will come too.
He's a friend who expects excellence.
But it's going to come behind closed doors. It's not going to be in front of everyone else. It's going to be like, hey, no one else knows about this, but you need to do this.
And never in front of a guy with a microphone.
Exactly. Never in front of a guy with a microphone. He will protect you. He could know that you did something wrong. Won't lie about it, but will not say anything about it to, say, a media member. Will make sure that you understand what needs to be done, but would not embarrass you or put you in that situation. And I think those are the things that guys can trust and respect, that no matter what is happening, you'll be all right. Whether you're doing terrible, whether you're doing great, he's going to build you up. He's going to pick you up. And in the end, he treats you like a man. And when people are treated like men, they act like men. And that's what you get.
Justin Masterson of the Cleveland Indians with us. Our campaign, Feed Their Future with Bright Hope, is underway, and you can find out more at moodyradiocleveland.fm. Justin, I know that you and Merrill have spent time traveling to places in the world where situations are probably unimaginable for over 90% of the people who are listening to this right now. Just tell me a story about some of the places that you've been able to walk in the Dominican Republic in the last couple of years.
Well, the first time we went to the Dominican, and as we still go, and it's interesting because I play with a lot of guys from the Dominican Republic. I know a lot of guys from there, but going down, you think you have an understanding, of what life is like. Of course, here, you see some poverty in the United States, and it gets bad. I take nothing away from that. But, you walk down, and, we've been going to a small town of Managua in between Santiago and Mocha. And, you have the stone roads with a bunch of potholes through it, which turns into just a hard dirt road. And then you have just little shacks on the side, trash kind of strewn around. And, we've been able to kind of walk around and check out the houses, and you just go and see, and it's, it's one room, maybe two, and it's a dirt floor, and it's wood. There's nothing else. You have, maybe, one little stovetop thing in order to cook. But that's it. That area, the electricity comes in maybe every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's not even going all the time, and it's just incredible, kind of the way you go about things, and yet encouraging the way people are they're living life, and they're okay. Like, this is what I have, and this is what I'm working with.
And you find a depth of faith in places like that sometimes you don't even find in the United States, because literally Jesus is all they've got.
Well, exactly. It was funny in one sense. When I was younger, right before I got drafted in the major leagues, the elderly at my church were going over the study, and I was talking about rich people, and more or less they came to the conclusion that rich people will go to hell. And so my mom happened to be there and said, well, what about Justin in about 3 months? And it's funny that once you get to that point and you see it, you understand, like, ooh, I think we need to rethink this. I mean, not that Justin's the greatest in all the land, but he loves Jesus, so we got to rethink this. But it turns out the love of money and just Jesus talks so much that when you have so much, it can be difficult. And you see it in baseball, you see it in professional athletes, you see it in those who have much. It's easy to rely on yourself. And as you look at those places, sometimes it can be a hindrance, but most of the time, because they have nothing, they have the hope in Christ, and that's that's an amazing thing to see, and it's heart and gut wrenching, and gives my wife and I a heart check when we go there. But that's all the more reason we want to impact lives. People go, oh, how does it make you feel to go down there? I'm like, it doesn't matter how it makes me feel, because it's not about me.
Right.
It's about them. That's what I want to do. It's not at the end of the day saying, ooh, I feel so much better that God might love me because, I did such and such and such. No chance. And I think, you understand that too you've had some similar experiences.
Yeah, traveling, because my daughter's been in El Salvador full time now for about a year and a half. I've been to some places where the government actually gave them corrugated metal so that they could actually build their houses. They forgot to give them running water and electricity.
Mm-hmm.
That finally came a couple of years ago. But as we were sitting here last time talking with C.H. Dyer from Bright Hope, he painted a picture of what you and Merrill are now involved in the Mathare Valley in Kenya that just sounds absolutely frightening. And yet, those of us who have so much can do just a little bit, whether it's $10 or $100 or $17 a month, and we can literally help that indigenous church there right on the edge of that garbage dump change the lives of over 1,000 kids.
Well, exactly. And that's very much why my wife and I wanted to partner with Bright Hope. Just an opportunity for us to continue to branch out and impact lives. And for us, having never been to, Africa, much less, Nairobi, Kenya, or the Mathare Valley, so the opportunity to get out there is great, and just to partner with Bright Hope to help to bring hope to those who are living on less than $1. And it's hard for me to even imagine living off. There's some celebrities who are like kind of pushing that thing to try and do it, and to even imagine doing that, is pretty incredible. So, just seeing what Bright Hope is doing and being able to be a part of that. And again, just a small, sacrifice, because, we've all been blessed so much, and to be able to give, whether it be, $10, $100 to sponsor one child for a year, it gives them 2 meals a day for 6 days, gives them schooling, and it just changes that poverty cycle, which is so prevalent in the Mathare Valley. And
$17 a month is all it takes to change the life of 2 children in the Mathare Valley. If you can be of help right now, here's what I'd like you to do. Go to moodyradiocleveland.fm. That's our website. You'll see some video there. You'll see some photos there. You'll get all the information on this team that we've helped put together with Justin, his wife Merrill, and the people at Bright Hope. Again, it's moodyradiocleveland.fm. Justin, thanks for coming out today. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.